Keith's charm just another perfectly crafted illusion? Buckle up. Because what's unfolding sounds less like a love story and more like a Hollywood cover-up gone wrong. Let's rewind the Hollywood timeline for a second back to when Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were the definition of a perfect marriage. Red carpets, couple interviews, shared giggles, and magazine covers that screamed relationship goals. But behind the photo shoots and picture-perfect smiles, something darker was reportedly brewing, something that even their closest friends didn't see coming. Now, according to a shocking new claim making rounds online, Russell Crowe, yes, the Russell Crowe, Nicole's longtime friend and confidant, may have just shattered the illusion completely, allegedly. During a closed-door conversation that somehow leaked through unnamed industry insiders, Crowe revealed that Nicole warned Keith about his behavior months before their split. But the million-dollar question is, what kind of behavior are we talking about? Insiders are whispering words like emotional distance, late-night calls, and mysterious co-stars, apparently. Nicole had been hearing the Hollywood grapevine hum with stories about Keith's professional chemistry with a rising pop country singer he'd been collaborating with. And while Nicole initially brushed it off as gossip, things started adding up. The late studio sessions, the canceled family dinners, the sudden need for privacy, all the classic red flags. Wrapped up in a Grammy-winning smile, but here's where it gets wild. According to a so-called studio technician who claims to have overheard a tense phone call, Nicole confronted Keith during one of his recording breaks. The alleged quote, "You can't play husband by day and rock star by night forever, Keith." And that's not coming from a tabloid headline, that's straight from one of those anonymous sources that Hollywood loves to pretend doesn't exist until it's too late. And let's not forget, Russell Crowe has known Nicole since the early 2000s, back when both were navigating fame, failed marriages, and the ruthless entertainment machine. So, if he's hinting that Nicole saw something coming, it means she didn't just stumble into heartbreak, she predicted it. Imagine sitting at a dinner table, smiling for the cameras, knowing deep down your husband's creative inspiration might be coming from somewhere. Or the alleged affair rumors didn't explode overnight. They simmered quietly. Fans started noticing the shift in Keith's demeanor during interviews: less warmth, more distance. He dodged questions about family life and redirect them to his music journey. Nicole, on the other hand, seemed to be growing quieter too, like a woman silently preparing for impact. And that's when Russell reportedly stepped in. A supposed friend close to the actor told an Australian gossip outlet, Russell warned Keith that Nicole doesn't play games. She gave him a chance to fix things privately, but he didn't listen. If that's true, Russell wasn't just spilling tea, he was serving a full Hollywood roast platter with extra drama on top. Because that single statement shifts the entire divorce narrative up until now. Most fans assume Nicole and Keith's split was just a matter of growing apart or conflicting schedules. But if Nicole warned him, he still ignored it. That turns a quiet breakup into a full-blown betrayal saga. Think about it, this wasn't a woman blindsided by tabloids. This was a woman who allegedly knew something was wrong and gave her husband a final chance to make it right. Social media, of course, has gone into meltdown mode. TikTok detectives are analyzing old red carpet clips, looking for the moment it all changed. Twitter threads are comparing Nicole's past statements about trust and emotional loyalty to Keith's interviews about creative freedom. Some fans even claim there's a pattern that Keith has a history of letting fame blur the lines between admiration and temptation. And through it all, Russell Crowe remains cryptically silent, no confirmation, no denial. Which, honestly, makes things even more suspicious. Because in Hollywood, silence speaks louder than any press statement. It's the quiet that screams. There's more to the story. By the time the tabloids caught wind of this supposed warning, it was too late. Nicole had reportedly already made her decision. Her team started preparing amicable separation statements. Keith's PR agents started cleaning his social feeds. And Russell's private comment suddenly became the most viral quote of the month. So the question everyone's asking is simple. Was Russell Crowe trying to protect his friend or accidentally exposing her ex-husband's secrets to the world? Because in this town, truth isn't what's real, it's what gets leaked first. And if the whispers are true, Nicole Kidman didn't just walk away from her marriage, she walked away from a ticking time bomb that everyone else refused to see. But hold up, because that's just the beginning. If you thought the alleged affair was the main scandal, wait until you hear what the leaked reports claim happened after Nicole confronted Keith, according to new so-called insider info. This story doesn't end with heartbreak, it spirals straight into damage control, deception, and a PR nightmare that's still haunting both of them today. When Nicole Kidman allegedly confronted Keith Urban about his rumored affair, it wasn't a screaming match or public meltdown, it was, as insiders say, a masterclass in quiet power, according to a supposed friend of Nicole's. She didn't storm out or throw accusations. She simply told him, "You already know what I know. Now decide who you want to be when the lights go off." And that line, if true, hits harder than any scandal headline. Because behind that calm tone, Nicole was allegedly sitting on a folder full of receipts, texts, photos, and timestamps that painted a story of emotional betrayal, not just physical. Reports claim she hired a private investigator weeks before the confrontation. After noticing changes in patterns, Keith's team calls that nonsense, but the gossip mill doesn't agree. Here's where Russell Crowe comes back into the picture. The whispers say Russell was one of the first people Nicole confided in, someone who told her to trust her instincts. An anonymous source who claims to work in film PR said, Russell knew something was off long before the press did. He wasn't stirring the pot. He was watching it boil. By this point, Keith's alleged professional friendship with his young collaborator was getting noticed beyond Nicole's circle. Paparazzi caught the two at multiple post-event parties, and one blurry photo of Keith leaning in to whisper something at a music festival became exhibit in the court of public opinion. Fans tried to dismiss it as innocent, but as one gossip site sarcastically wrote, "Nobody whispers marketing strategies at 2 a.m. Then came the infamous unreleased footage rumor. Supposedly, a behind-the-scenes clip from one of Keith's music video shoots showed him and his co-star sharing a little too much chemistry between takes. While the clip never surfaced, just the idea of it set social media ablaze. Hashtags like #KeithGate and #Nicole started trending. Fan pages that once posted couple goals now posted timelines of where it went wrong. Nicole, meanwhile, stayed completely silent. That's when people started realizing her silence was strategy. It wasn't weakness. She wasn't hiding. She was calculating. In Hollywood, image is everything, and Nicole's brand has always been that of poise, grace, and quiet dominance. She didn't need to clap back or go live crying. She simply showed up at events looking radiant and unbothered, as if to say, I already left that chaos behind, and that's exactly what infuriated Keith's fanbase. They wanted denial, closure. Something. Instead, they got elegance. As for Russell Crowe, insiders say he became the accidental whistleblower. He didn't intend for his private conversation to become gossip gold. But when word spread that he had spoken about Nicole's warnings, the tabloids ran with it like wildfire. One outlet even quoted an unnamed crew member saying, Russell felt bad for Nicole. She saw the storm coming and nobody believed her. Meanwhile, Keith's PR team was working overtime to redirect attention. Suddenly, new music teasers appeared online, interviews about artistic rebirth dropped, and a few conveniently timed charity appearances popped up. Classic Hollywood distraction tactics change the narrative before the narrative changes you, but the internet wasn't letting it go. People started connecting dots that might not even exist, claiming Keith's new songs were subtle confessions and analyzing every lyric as if it were a diary entry. And of course, YouTube was flooded with body language experts dissecting old interviews, claiming they saw emotional disconnect and avoidance cues. The deeper fans dug, the worse it got. Someone leaked what they claimed was an old text exchange between Keith and his alleged collaborator, where he wrote, "She doesn't understand this side of me." The message's authenticity was never verified. But once it hit Twitter, it didn't matter, people believed it. That's the thing about Hollywood scandals. Truth isn't defined by facts. It's defined by how viral a rumor gets. By this stage, the so-called Nicole warning had become a global talking point. Morning shows, gossip podcasts, and entertainment blogs all ran their own versions of the story. Some painted Nicole as the strong woman who saw through her husband's act. Others accused her of orchestrating a sympathy narrative before announcing her next big project. The internet, as usual, took sides: Team Nicole versus Team Keith. And then came the most unexpected twist. Keith's rumored collaborator suddenly went private on all social media platforms. Her reps said it was due to harassment, but the timing couldn't have been worse. If she wasn't involved, why vanish just as the rumors peaked? Russell Crowe's name started trending again. People accused him of exposing too much and playing messenger in a game he didn't start, one entertainment columnist wrote. Russell didn't like the match, but he definitely pointed at the gasoline. Keith's camp reportedly reached out to Russell's team to clarify his comments. But there was no public statement, no retraction, just eerie silence. And in that silence, fans filled in the blanks themselves. By late summer, paparazzi photos showed Nicole attending industry events solo, smiling wider than ever. Some say it was her way of reclaiming control. Others call it the calm before the storm. Either way, the message was clear: Nicole Kidman wasn't looking back. But what nobody expected was that this alleged affair, this warning would spiral into something much larger than a breakup. Because according to a few Hollywood insiders, what happened after the split wasn't just emotional fallout, it turned into a quiet power war between reputations, allies, and public sympathy. And that's where the real chaos begins, because after the confrontation, after the so-called quiet separation, the story didn't die, it multiplied. Hollywood insiders say what came next wasn't just a breakup. It was a full-blown media chess match, and every move was deliberate. Nicole Kidman, the woman who once said she can finally wear heels, was now standing taller than ever, but this time, it wasn't about height. It was about reclaiming her narrative before someone else rewrote it for her. Within days of Keith Urban quietly moving out, a whisper campaign began circulating through the industry. The phrasing was the same across gossip blogs, PR leaks, and anonymous entertainment tips. Keith and Nicole simply grew apart. It sounded polished, safe, controlled, until Russell Crowe allegedly decided to ruin the script, according to one Hollywood tipster. Russell was overheard telling a close friend, she warned him. She told him straight up to stop before it became public. The quote was never confirmed. But that didn't matter. It was enough to send shockwaves through every entertainment outlet from Los Angeles to Sydney. Suddenly, the amicable divorce narrative was replaced by something juicier. Nicole Kidman had warned her husband about an affair, and he ignored her. That revelation flipped everything. It changed Nicole from the distant movie star who couldn't hold a marriage together into the heartbroken wife who saw betrayal coming and still tried to save it. Overnight, sympathy shifted. Talk show hosts debated whether Keith's silence was guilt or dignity. Fan pages flooded with messages of support for Nicole, and hashtags like #SheWarnedHim and #Nicole better trended for days. Meanwhile, Keith Urban's PR team scrambled to control the bleeding. One insider claimed his publicist ordered. A tabloid out of London ran a headline that read, "Nicole's warnings ignored. The affair she saw coming." They cited an inside source who claimed Nicole found evidence of emotional infidelity months before the divorce filing. Whether true or not, it didn't matter. The headline alone went viral. And then came the curveball, rumors that Nicole had confronted the other woman. The story goes that she called her directly, not to threaten or fight, but to say, "You can have him if that's who he wants to be." Cold, controlled, classic Nicole. The alleged phone call became a symbol of quiet revenge. Fans on social media called it the classiest breakup move in history. Through it all, Russell Crowe's name kept floating back to the surface. He never confirmed or denied anything, but every time he showed up in public on red carpets, interviews, charity events, paparazzi shouted the same question: Russell, did Nicole really warn Keith? He never answered, just smirked and walked away. And that smirk became the internet's new obsession. Memes called him the accidental exposer. Twitter users joked that Russell knows where all the Hollywood bodies are buried, behind the scenes. However, the tension was real. A source close to Keith reportedly said he was furious that Russell's comments had reignited the story. One gossip site even claimed Keith's team considered taking legal action for defamation, but cooler heads prevailed. Instead, Keith was advised to stay on brand, keep performing, keep smiling, and wait for the story to fade. But the story didn't fade, because Nicole Kidman wasn't hiding anymore. She started subtly reclaiming her image. First came the Vogue photo shoot shot in natural light, wearing no wedding ring, titled Standing on My Own, then the exclusive interview, where she never mentioned Keith's name but said, "Sometimes silence is the loudest truth you can tell." It was a surgical strike. No names, no details, but everyone knew exactly who and what she was talking about. That interview sent a message not just to Keith but to Tom Cruise, too. The ghosts of Nicole's past were haunting the narrative again. Every time she spoke about silence, the media replayed her old divorce clips, her "I can wear heels now" joke, her history of emotionally absent partners. The public couldn't help but connect the dots to marriages, to men, to emotional disappearances. Russell Crowe's accidental leak had done more than expose a warning. It had reignited to decades of buried Hollywood tension. It made Nicole's story bigger than a failed marriage. But what really broke the internet was what came next: a leaked studio memo, allegedly from a film Nicole and Russell were both attached to. The memo reportedly read, "Due to ongoing media attention, publicity pairings with Crowe and Kidman are to be reviewed." Translation? Hollywood didn't like the heat. The industry that thrives on scandal suddenly wanted to distance itself from one. That's when the theories started spiraling out of control. Some claimed Scientology had resurfaced to control the narrative. Others insisted Keith's label was buying silence from major outlets. Even entertainment lawyers started whispering about non-disclosure agreements and sealed files. It stopped being just gossip, it became mythology. Meanwhile, Nicole did what she always does best: turn chaos into power. Her upcoming film, conveniently, is about a woman betrayed by her husband who rebuilds her life in silence. Fans called it the most poetic revenge ever. And when the first trailer dropped, featuring the line, "I told him the truth before he told me lies," the internet lost its mind. Comment sections flooded with references to Keith, Russell, and the alleged affair. Nicole didn't need to name names. The message was already loud and clear, and Keith? He kept touring, smiling for cameras, avoiding questions. But fans noticed something had changed. The sparkle was gone. Every love song he sang now sounded like an apology that came too late. By the end of the year, one entertainment blog summed it up perfectly. Russell Crowe didn't destroy Keith Urban's marriage, he just reminded everyone that Nicole Kidman warned him first. And maybe that's the truth here. Maybe the real story isn't about affairs or rumors or who said what. Maybe it's about the one thing that keeps repeating in Nicole Kidman's life: men who mistake her silence for surrender, and always regret it when she finally speaks through action, because in Hollywood, words can lie. But silence? Silence tells the truth louder than anyone wants to hear, and that's where we leave it, a warning ignored. A silence that spoke louder than any scandal, and a Hollywood legend who walked away stronger than ever. But what do you think? Did Nicole Kidman really warn Keith Urban before it all fell apart? Or is this just another twisted tale from behind the velvet curtain? Drop your thoughts below, because this story is far from over, and trust me, Hollywood's secrets never stay buried for long. If you love deep dives into celebrity chaos, Hollywood has officially exploded because Tom Cruise just dropped the kind of bombshell that could end careers, destroy marriages, and flip every red carpet smile upside down. After years of silence, Tom has finally broken the code and revealed what really went down between him, Nicole Kidman, and Keith Urban, and let's just say, it's not the love story the tabloids sold us. What if I told you that behind those Oscars smiles and happily married interviews lies a secret so twisted it made Keith lose everything he built? Buckle up, because this isn't gossip, this is Hollywood revenge with receipts. They said Hollywood had seen it all until this. What started as a harmless red carpet reunion between Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman has turned into a full-blown emotional earthquake that no one saw coming. Cameras flashed, smiles were forced, but behind that thin layer of everything's fine was a truth so explosive that even Keith Urban couldn't hold it together. Insiders say the man who once sang about love and devotion is now drowning in humiliation because Tom Cruise just exposed something Nicole prayed would never resurface. Let's rewind the tape, shall we? Back in the early 2000s, when Tom and Nicole were Hollywood's golden couple, their breakup was marketed as amicable, but people close to the situation have always whispered otherwise. Rumors of secret recordings, late-night calls, and hidden letters circulated for years, and now, thanks to a leaked audio clip that mysteriously popped up on Reddit, it looks like those whispers might have been true all along. The clip, allegedly recorded in 2004, reportedly captures Tom telling a close friend, "She kept a part of me in her heart," even when she said she'd moved on. But that's not even the shocking part. What's sending shockwaves through Hollywood is Tom's latest exclusive interview that dropped like a nuclear bomb on social media. During a casual sit-down with an entertainment host, Tom apparently hinted that Nicole wasn't exactly faithful in her marriage to Keith Urban and that she carried emotional baggage from her time with him that never truly ended. Within hours, #Nicole exposed and #justice for Keith were trending on X, formerly Twitter, while fans flooded comment sections with disbelief, anger, and theories that could make a soap opera blush. One source close to Keith claimed he knew something was off for months. The way she avoided questions about Tom, the private phone calls, it was like she was living two lives. Now, whether that's true or just another rumor is still up for debate, but the internet doesn't need proof to run wild. Influencers are dissecting every interview, every paparazzi photo, every tiny glance between Keith and Nicole over the last year. One viral TikTok even slowed down footage of Keith's hand twitching at an awards show when Tom's name was mentioned. People are calling it the guilt grab. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise, the man who's been accused of everything from running cold like movie sets to keeping secret files on co-stars, suddenly looks like the calmest one in the room. His demeanor in the interview was too controlled, too deliberate. He wasn't angry. He was strategic, like a man who's waited to decades to clear his name. And he finally got his moment. And let's not forget, Tom and Nicole's relationship was no ordinary Hollywood fling. They adopted kids together, built homes, and made headlines as the picture-perfect couple of the 90s. So for him to now step forward and imply that Nicole's marriage to Keith might have started with emotional cheating? That's not just drama, that's legacy warfare. By the time this story hit morning television, Keith Urban had reportedly locked himself away at a private ranch outside of Nashville. Paparazzi photos showed him looking disheveled, still wearing his wedding ring. And ignoring reporters yelling questions about Tom's interview, fans started speculating that Keith's recent concert cancellations weren't about exhaustion like his reps claimed, but about betrayal. And then, the unthinkable happened. A new account on Instagram popped up under the handle @TruthAboutNicole, posting cryptic quotes like, "You can't erase what's recorded," and "Some secrets deserve to burn," within hours. Followers were convinced the account belonged to Tom himself, or someone from his inner circle. The posts included blurry screenshots of what looked like old text messages, allegedly between Nicole and an unnamed number saved as Mission Control. Coincidence? Maybe, but the internet doesn't believe in coincidences. By the end of the day, tabloids were declaring Keith Urban in crisis. Tom's truth destroys marriage. And entertainment shows began digging into the couple's history like forensic detectives. Anonymous studio insiders claimed that Nicole had once asked a major production team to cut out Keith's name from a red carpet segment. Fearing it would spark old rumors about Tom, the puzzle pieces started to align. Maybe too perfectly, Keith's fans are heartbroken. Nicole's supporters are defensive. Tom's army is smugly quoting the truth always finds a way, and in the middle of it all, three people bound by fame, ego, and a secret that refuses to stay buried. But here's the question, was this really Tom's revenge? Or just a man finally telling his side of the story after years of silence? Whatever it is, one thing's certain, the game has officially changed. And if you thought this was the end, oh no. We're just getting started because the next twist in this Hollywood meltdown? It's darker than anyone could have predicted. The internet practically caught fire overnight. Millions of fans, gossip sites, and YouTube analysts began breaking down every second of Tom's interview, every gesture, every phrase. People were convinced there was more he wasn't saying, that the secret he exposed was only the tip of a much uglier truth. Suddenly, this wasn't just about jealousy or old heartbreak. It was about betrayal, control, and the illusion of perfection that Hollywood feeds its audience. Multiple entertainment blogs claimed to have obtained exclusive leaks from insiders who worked close to the couple during their early marriage years. One alleged former assistant told a podcast Nicole used to talk about Tom all the time, even after marrying Keith. It wasn't romantic, but it was obsessive. She'd compare their energies, their drive. Keith used to laugh it off, but it slowly broke him. Another alleged source went further, claiming that Tom kept a personal archive of photos, messages, and voicemails between him and Nicole, and those same files might have now resurfaced as part of this unfolding scandal. Screenshots began circulating online showing what looked like a blurry voicemail transcription. The message supposedly featured Nicole's voice saying, "I wish things had been different. Tom, I wish I could tell Keith everything." While no one could verify its authenticity, the damage was done. The clip went viral within hours. Fans dissected the tone, the pauses, the inflection. People even brought in so-called voice analysts on TikTok who claimed it was a 90% match to Nicole Kidman's speaking pattern. Meanwhile, Keith Urban's silence became deafening. For a man who used to post daily updates about his shows, family, and his beautiful wife, there was suddenly nothing. No pictures, no captions, no smiles. Reports claimed he had fired his PR team after they advised him to ignore the noise. And insiders alleged that he had confronted Nicole in private about the voicemail. The confrontation, according to one close friend, was brutal. He asked her point blank if she still loved Tom. She couldn't answer. She froze. That's when Keith knew. From that moment on, things spiraled. Keith's team allegedly canceled a $2.3 million endorsement deal, citing personal matters. A major network pulled back from a scheduled TV appearance. Paparazzi captured Nicole stepping out of her home looking visibly shaken, clutching her phone, and avoiding questions shouted by photographers. Did Tom tell the truth? Are you still in touch with him? Is Keith leaving you? Her lips stayed sealed, but her silence spoke volumes. Then came the twist no one saw coming. TMZ-style blogs began hinting at an even darker chapter, that Tom Cruise wasn't just revealing the truth. He might have been provoked. A now viral tweet claimed that Nicole had secretly contacted one of Tom's old producers last year, trying to fix her image in an upcoming documentary about their past. According to alleged insiders, Tom found out and decided to take back the narrative before anyone else could. If that's true, then this entire scandal might have been Tom's strategic counterattack. But as usual, social media didn't wait for confirmation. Memes, fan theories, and even fake court documents started circulating. One Twitter thread claimed Nicole had sent hush money to an anonymous recipient last month. Another TikTok influencer said Keith was seen meeting with divorce lawyers in Nashville. Whether any of this is true is anyone's guess, but when it comes to celebrity chaos, perception becomes reality. Hollywood publicists are reportedly panicking behind the scenes. Studio executives are allegedly trying to distance themselves from all three stars, fearing that this scandal could ruin upcoming projects. Nicole's next film premiere was suddenly postponed indefinitely, and Keith's concert organizers claimed logistical issues for canceling his entire Australia leg. But industry insiders aren't buying it. They say it's damage control. They say the story's too hot to touch. And then came the bombshell photo. A paparazzi snapshot that broke the internet, Tom Cruise leaving a Beverly Hills restaurant late at night, holding what looked like an envelope. The caption read, "Proof delivered." Within hours, speculation erupted that Tom had passed the alleged voicemail or documents to a media outlet. Entertainment shows started teasing, "We've heard the audio," and it changes everything. Suddenly, the entire world wanted to know what was in that envelope. Nicole's camp reportedly tried to shut the story down, sending legal threats to blogs and fan pages that reposted the rumors. But the harder they tried to silence it, the more viral it became. Hashtags like #Nicole voicemail and #Tom knows everything began trending globally. Fans started revisiting old award show clips, moments when Tom and Nicole avoided eye contact, or when Keith looked distant. Every blink, every smirk, every awkward pause was now evidence. But the internet doesn't just analyze, it judges. Comment sections turned into battlefields. Some accused Tom of manipulation and revenge. Others said Nicole got caught in her own web of lies. And poor Keith? He became the face of heartbreak, with fans posting emotional edits set to sad country songs. One viral comment summed it up perfectly: Keith didn't lose his wife. He lost his peace. Behind the glitz and glamour, it's becoming clear. This isn't just a Hollywood love triangle. This is a war of image, power, and truth. And if Tom Cruise really has more to reveal, the next chapter could destroy more than just reputations. It could change how the world sees its so-called perfect couples. But little did anyone know, the real twist was just about to begin. By the third day, this wasn't just gossip anymore. It was a full-blown Hollywood crisis. News outlets that once worshipped Nicole Kidman were now turning against her. Headlines screaming, "Nicole's hidden affair files, Tom's proof surfaces," and Keith Urban vanishes amid marriage collapse. What had begun as a whispered scandal was now dominating primetime news segments. Publicists were scrambling, lawyers were on standby, and Hollywood's A-listers were privately texting each other. "Did you see what Tom said?" Then came the supposed exclusive drop. A small, but infamous gossip channel claimed it had received the actual voicemail that Tom hinted about, the same one Keith allegedly confronted Nicole over. The clip was only 17 seconds long, muffled, emotional, but unmistakably haunting. The voice on the recording said, "You'll always be the one I couldn't let go. I never told Keith because I couldn't break him, that was it." No names, no context, but the internet didn't need confirmation. Within minutes, the audio was everywhere. Twitter threads, YouTube shorts, TikTok breakdowns. Fans slowed it down, amplified it, ran it through voice filters, and 95% of them swore it was Nicole Kidman's voice. Hollywood's PR machine went into meltdown. Nicole's team called it digitally altered nonsense. Tom's camp refused to comment. And Keith? Silent again! That silence became the loudest headline of all. Theories started multiplying faster than wildfire. Some said the voicemail was recorded years ago, before Nicole's marriage to Keith. Others believed it was recent, proof of emotional cheating that had been going on all along. A few conspiracy pages even suggested Tom had set her up, using AI to fabricate the recording as payback for years of being painted as the villain in their divorce. But regardless of what was true, the damage was irreversible. Nicole's image as the calm, graceful icon of Hollywood had shattered overnight. Paparazzi swarmed her every move. Cameras caught her outside a Beverly Hills law office, face hidden under dark glasses, while Keith's black SUV was parked a few feet away. TMZ reported that the two met privately for nearly 4 hours. Witnesses said they looked tense, Nicole pacing, Keith staring at the floor, his hand shaking as he lit cigarette after cigarette. One witness even claimed to overhear Nicole saying, "It was never supposed to come out like this." When they finally emerged, neither spoke to the press. Keith drove off alone. Nicole's publicist released a short, vague statement. Nicole Kidman asks for privacy as her family navigates personal matters. But privacy and Hollywood? Those two don't mix. Within 24 hours, Keith Urban unfollowed Nicole on Instagram. Fans noticed instantly. Screenshots went viral. YouTubers began analyzing the timeline of every post, every lyric, every caption he'd written about her in the last year. The conclusion? He'd known for months. The pain was visible in hindsight. One viral TikTok said, "Keith didn't lose his wife this week. He lost her a long time ago. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise was living his best life." Reporters spotted him at a movie premiere, laughing, shaking hands, posing for photos, like a man completely untouched by the chaos he'd unleashed. Fans called it the revenge smile. People started posting memes calling Tom the comeback king. Entertainment blogs ran with headlines like, "Tom finally gets his apology," without saying a word behind the scenes. However, whispers of a legal war began to circulate. Nicole's lawyers were allegedly preparing to sue for defamation, claiming Tom's statements and the leaked voicemail caused emotional and financial harm. But even if she wins the lawsuit, can she ever win back her image? Hollywood doesn't forgive easily, especially when the narrative of a secret affair gets this big. Then came the next bombshell, an anonymous Reddit post claiming to be from someone close to the production of Tom's upcoming movie. The post alleged that Tom's PR team had been planning a strategic image reset for months, which included a subtle rebranding of his public persona from arrogant action star to wrong ex-husband. Who told the truth if that's true? Then this wasn't spontaneous, it was orchestrated. Every smile, every hint, every quote in that interview could have been part of a master plan. The internet couldn't decide what was worse, the idea that Nicole cheated, or the idea that Tom masterminded her downfall. Either way, Keith Urban came out the most broken. Sources claimed he checked into a private wellness retreat in Montana. His team released a short statement saying he's focusing on healing and family, but fans weren't buying it. They said he looked defeated, like a man whose world had been ripped apart in front of millions. The memes turned to morning posts. People began treating Keith like the tragic hero of a modern love story gone wrong. A trending tweet read, "First it was Will and Jada, now it's Keith and Nicole. Hollywood doesn't do love, it does headlines." And in the middle of all this, Tom Cruise remains untouchable. The man who flipped the narrative turned sympathy into strategy and made an entire generation question who the real victim ever was. Industry insiders now whispered that Nicole's next film may be quietly shelved, that her endorsements are on pause, and that her team is desperately seeking a distraction, a humanitarian project, a magazine cover, anything to make people forget the voicemail. But as one PR expert bluntly told Vanity Buzz, "You can't erase audio. Once people hear your voice confessing something, it lives forever." Hollywood may move on, but the internet never forgets. And so, the love triangle that once defined a generation of romantic movies has now become the darkest soap opera ever written, one that no screenwriter could have imagined. But every fan is obsessed with watching unfold because at the end of the day, when Tom Cruise said he had nothing left to hide, he wasn't bluffing. He was warning them. And now, as Keith Urban disappears from the spotlight and Nicole Kidman's empire begins to crumble, one question echoes louder than ever across the internet: was Tom the villain all along? Or the only one brave enough to tell the truth? And that's the twisted truth Hollywood doesn't want you to see. The love triangle that began as red carpet perfection has exploded into betrayal, revenge, and shattered reputations, and trust me, this story is far from over. Because if Tom Cruise has more proof, and Keith Urban decides to finally speak, Hollywood won't be ready for what comes next. So, what do you think? Was Tom really exposing the truth? Or just settling an old score? Did Nicole play innocent for too long, or is she the real victim in this chaos? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading everything. This is Lumi Legacy, where the secrets don't stay secret for long. Stay tuned, stay curious, and remember, in Hollywood, every smile hides a scandal. What happened to Keith Urban's smile? The same man who once lit up red carpets with Nicole Kidman's hand in his, now looks like he's forcing every grin through $1 million migraine. After a $76 million wedding that the tabloids called a fairy tale for the cameras, Keith's joy has vanished faster than Maggie Baugh's country career streams. Was this marriage built on love or luxury sponsorships? Did he trade true happiness for social media validation and private jets? Tonight, we're diving deep into the hidden cracks behind Hollywood's newest perfect couple, and why Keith Urban might secretly regret every glittering vow. Let's rewind to where it all began, before the $76 million wedding, before the fake smiles, before the Hollywood circus swallowed Keith Urban whole. Once upon a time, Keith was the picture of calm confidence, the soft-spoken Australian heartthrob who melted stadiums and cameras alike, especially when Nicole Kidman stood by his side. Their love story was the kind that made cynics believe in soulmates again. Red carpet photos told a story of peace, not performance. Back then, Keith didn't need flashbulbs to look alive. His happiness came from something real. But fast forward to today, and the man who once sang about love and healing now looks like he's auditioning for a role in The Walking Dead Grammy edition. So what changed? According to several anonymous insiders, the kind who accidentally overhear everything while pouring champagne at celebrity parties, the shift began the moment Maggie Baugh entered the picture. Now, let's be honest. When Maggie first came into Keith's orbit, the internet treated her like a country Cinderella. Younger, bubbly, social media polished, and, most importantly, loud. She wasn't afraid of the spotlight. She chased it. And for a man who had spent years balancing artistry and privacy, that sudden burst of influencer energy must have felt like stepping into a TikTok tornado, according to one leaked insider report from a Beverly Hills event planner. Keith's entire wedding budget was a publicity campaign disguised as romance. The planner allegedly said everything was staged. Every flower, every smile, every drone shot. It was less of a wedding and more of a PR stunt to outshine Nicole's elegance, and boy, did they go overboard. We're talking about a wedding so expensive that the diamond centerpiece alone could have bought a small island or at least a quiet conscience. The guest list looked like a Billboard Hot 100 reunion. Every angle was filmed, filtered, and approved before a single photo hit the feed. There were reports that Maggie personally hired a smile coach for Keith to ensure his expressions matched the brand aesthetic of her luxury partnership deals. Yes, you heard that right, a smile coach. But the cracks started showing before the champagne even went flat. In early 2023, tabloids began whispering that Keith looked visibly detached at a Nashville gala. Some claimed he spent most of the evening checking his phone, while Maggie posed for photo ops with tech millionaires and fashion moguls. Fans on X, formerly Twitter, noticed it too. One user posted side-by-side photos captioned, "Keith with Nicole, peaceful joy. Keith with Maggie, hostage energy." The tweet went viral overnight. Behind the scenes, Keith reportedly became increasingly uncomfortable with Maggie's obsession with optics. Friends allegedly told Entertainment Secret Weekly that she would schedule casual paparazzi runs every weekend to keep their names trending. One of Keith's old bandmates even joked he used to write love songs. Now he writes captions, but what really sealed the deal, or unsealed it, was how the marriage blurred the line between love and luxury. Maggie's new connections opened doors to billionaire circles, brand sponsorships, and influencer events that Keith had never cared for. Yet, he found himself dragged into rooms filled with people who saw him not as a Grammy-winning musician, but as a high-value accessory. During one particularly lavish fundraiser in Malibu, a source described the couple's dynamic as awkward theater. The source said, Maggie kept whispering to Keith to smile wider whenever cameras turned. He looked like he wanted to disappear into his glass of champagne. Meanwhile, Nicole Kidman, always the quiet class act, kept living her life gracefully without a single public jab or reaction. But fans noticed something eerie. Every time Keith was spotted on red carpets with Maggie, Nicole's old photos began trending again. It was as if the internet itself missed the version of Keith that smiled without effort, laughed without pressure, and loved without HSHTAGS. And maybe that's the real tragedy here. Keith didn't lose just Nicole, he lost himself. The version of him that existed before fame demanded perfection. Before his happiness became a performance metric. Before smile for the brand replaced smile from the heart, as one anonymous friend supposedly said, Keith's life turned into a campaign. Everything looked beautiful, but nothing felt real by the end of 2023. Those close to the couple described him as tired, emotionally detached, and constantly overbooked. Maggie, on the other hand, was thriving. Luxury collabs, TV appearances, endless Instagram filters capturing her perfect life. But behind the ring light, Keith's glow was fading, and this is where the story starts turning darker. Not just about fake love, but about a man slowly realizing that all that glitters can, in fact, blind you. Because as their public image rose, Keith's personal world began collapsing in silence. He stopped attending songwriter meetups. He skipped close friends' birthdays. And the man who once said music was his therapy suddenly stopped writing altogether. By early 2024, fans noticed something haunting in his interviews. His laughter sounded rehearsed. His eyes never quite matched his words. When asked how married life was, he smiled faintly and said, "It's a learning experience." Translation? He looked like a man studying for a test he never wanted to take. And that brings us to the next part of this twisted fairy tale, where the masks start slipping, the receipts start leaking, and Keith Urban's $76 million dream wedding starts looking more like a beautifully wrapped nightmare. The cracks became impossible to hide by. Mid-2024, every glossy magazine cover told a different story, but the eyes never lie. Fans noticed that Keith Urban's once sincere grin had been replaced by a fixed, camera-ready smirk. Comment sections filled with speculation. One viral post read, "He looks like a man trapped in a brand deal." And maybe he was, according to one alleged insider from Maggie's management team. Keith wasn't just her husband, he was part of her marketing strategy. The source claimed Maggie had structured their relationship around maximum visibility, luxury shoots, curated interviews, and romance content tailored for brand partnerships. Another insider added, he thought he was marrying a partner. Turns out, he married a PR campaign. Let's talk about the money, because every fairy tale in Hollywood comes with a receipt trail. The $76 million wasn't just the cost of the wedding. It was an investment package. A source from Beverly Hills finance circles claimed that over $20 million of that budget came from sponsorship tie-ins with luxury brands, perfume lines, jewelry companies, even a champagne label. Every toast was basically a commercial. At first, Keith played along. After all, he'd seen the glitz before. But soon, he realized that Maggie wasn't content with fame, she wanted power. Behind the Instagram filters and branded smiles, Maggie allegedly began taking control of his public image, dictating interviews, wardrobe, and even song choices. One alleged producer leaked that Keith's label received several creative direction notes signed by Maggie herself. The notes reportedly suggested he shift away from moody, introspective lyrics and move toward youthful, upbeat, shareable content. Translation? Stop being authentic. Start being viral. The shift was immediate. Keith's next single, Golden Mirage, dropped in late 2023, and fans called it soulless, auto-tuned, and weirdly corporate. One fan tweeted, "This isn't Keith Urban. This sounds like a Target commercial." The track tanked, his lowest performing single in a decade. Meanwhile, Maggie was thriving. She became a front row fixture at every fashion week. Her face splashed across digital billboards and social media campaigns. She wasn't just a rising star. She was branding herself as the star who saved Keith Urban's image. Except, behind closed doors, that image was crumbling. Rumors began swirling that Keith had moved out temporarily in early 2024. Retreating to a quiet Nashville ranch to reconnect with music, Maggie's camp dismissed it as a creative break. But one anonymous staff member allegedly told The Hollywood Mirror, he didn't go there to write songs. He went there to remember who he was. And then came the leaks. In March 2024, a series of mysterious screenshots began circulating online, alleged text exchanges between Keith and an unnamed confidant. The messages painted a bleak picture. Keith allegedly wrote, "She wants everything to look perfect, but nothing feels real anymore." Another text read, "Sometimes I smile because it's easier than explaining why I'm sad." The authenticity of the screenshots was never confirmed, but that didn't matter. The public was hooked. Fans launched hashtags like #FreeKeith and #BringBackTheSmile. Some even compared him to other celebrity husbands who lost themselves in influencer marriages. Maggie, in response, doubled down on the luxury optics. She hosted a $1.2 million charity gala for mental wellness in the music industry, a move fans called tone deaf considering her husband's visible decline. A viral TikTok comment summed it up best: "She's throwing parties for mental health while Keith looks mentally kidnapped and while all this chaos unfolded." Nicole Kidman, the woman the internet now dubbed the ghost of Keith's happiness, continued to handle everything with her signature grace. She didn't make statements. She didn't shade anyone online. But paparazzi captured her at a film premiere smiling genuinely, looking radiant, and fans immediately flooded timelines with comparisons. One tweet said, "Nicole glows because she healed. Keith fakes it because he hasn't." But here's where it gets darker, because this wasn't just a relationship unraveling, it was a full-blown brand implosion in slow motion. Financial analysts began speculating that the couple's extravagant lifestyle was burning through their combined assets at an alarming rate. One leaked accounting report suggested that the Bourbon household spends approximately $400,000 per month on lifestyle maintenance that includes stylists, chefs, PR retainers, and what one source called reputation management services. Yes, apparently they were paying firms to make sure negative stories didn't go viral. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. By the summer of 2024, major outlets like Starbeat and Digital Dish started publishing exposes about the smiling mirage of Keith Urban. These reports quoted alleged staff members who described Keith as exhausted, withdrawn, and increasingly unrecognizable. One security guard allegedly said, "He just stares into space between takes. The cameras turn off, and so does he." Even fellow musicians began whispering. A well-known Nashville songwriter who remained unnamed said during a podcast, "That man used to walk into a studio glowing. Now he walks in like he's clocking into a shift he didn't apply for." Public sympathy for Keith surged. Meanwhile, Maggie's reputation began taking hits. Influencer gossip accounts accused her of manipulating the narrative to maintain brand relevance. "Every post feels like she's proving something," one viral comment said, and as the pressure mounted, the couple's once frequent joint appearances became rare. By late 2024, they hadn't been photographed together for over 2 months. Paparazzi caught Keith alone at a diner in Tennessee, dressed down, eating in silence. The photo went viral with the caption, $76 million wedding, $6 coffee. Infinite sadness. From the outside, it looked like just another celebrity burnout story, but behind the scenes, whispers of legal trouble and breached contracts were starting to surface. Reporters hinted at undisclosed financial discrepancies tied to their sponsorship deals because when you build love on luxury, someone's always footing the bill, and as the glitter started to fade, Keith Urban's reality was about to hit him harder than any heartbreak ever could, because next came the fallout, the lawsuits, the leaks, and the slow disintegration of a brand marriage that was never built to last. By late 2024, the fairy tale was officially cracking like a cheap champagne glass. The tabloids went from calling Keith Urban and Maggie Bach country music's power couple to Hollywood's most expensive PR disaster. The glitter, the gowns, the grand declarations of eternal love, all of it started to look like a high-budget illusion that had finally run out of camera angles. And when the curtain began to fall, the leaks came fast. It started with a so-called whistleblower stylist, an anonymous former team member who dropped a 14-minute voice note to a gossip page claiming that Keith wasn't allowed to approve his own wardrobe, interviews, or even vacation plans, according to the stylist. Maggie controlled every public appearance down to the minute. The alleged reason? Consistency and brand alignment, the stylist said. There were days Keith didn't even know where he was supposed to go. Maggie's assistant would hand him a schedule and tell him what to wear, what to say, and when to smile. The man looked like he was being managed more than married. Fans were furious. The hashtag Save Keith trended again, this time alongside #marriage or management. Then came the real bombshell. A leaked legal document supposedly showing that several of Maggie's luxury sponsorship deals had used joint assets from Keith's estate as collateral. Translation? The brands were secured with his money. One entertainment lawyer anonymously told Showbiz Ledger if that document's real, it means Keith may have unknowingly financed his own emotional breakdown. Spirally fall, whispers of separation grew louder. Maggie continued posting curated couple photos with captions like "always better together," while fans pointed out that Keith looked photoshopped into happiness. But insiders were saying something else, that the couple hadn't been living together for weeks. One source claimed she was busy attending influencer retreats in Monaco while Keith was home in Tennessee trying to write music again. Then came the video. In October 2024, an anonymous TikTok account uploaded a shaky backstage clip allegedly recorded during a music festival. The footage appeared to show Keith sitting alone, head down, while a voice, sounding eerily like Maggie's, snapped, "Fix your posture. You look miserable." He didn't respond. The clip hit 40 million views in 2 days, with one user commenting, "He doesn't even flinch anymore. That's not love. That's programming." The narrative shifted instantly. Overnight, Keith Urban transformed from a once-envied superstar to the internet's latest tragic cautionary tale. Fans flooded his old music videos with comments like "This smile was real and we miss you, Keith." Even industry peers began showing subtle support. Miranda Lambert posted a cryptic Instagram story saying, "Some people lose themselves trying to please everyone else. Don't forget who you are." Fans connected the dots immediately. And then, like every Hollywood downfall, came the legal storm. By November, multiple tabloids reported that Keith had begun quietly separating finances and consulting with attorneys. Allegedly, there were ongoing disputes over shared sponsorship contracts and asset divisions. One supposed insider close to the situation told Celebrity Wire, "He's trying to untangle a financial web so complicated it could take years to undo." Maggie, meanwhile, tried to maintain control of the narrative. She appeared on a podcast, tearfully denying manipulation rumors, insisting that our love is real and calling online critics toxic. But fans weren't buying it. Every denial sounded more rehearsed than heartfelt. Even her tears looked filtered. Behind the curtain, production companies that had once begged for the Bourbon love story reality show reportedly pulled out, citing brand instability. Major luxury sponsors quietly dropped her name from upcoming campaigns. It was as if the industry itself was backing away from the spectacle it helped create. But the emotional toll on Keith was undeniable. His rare public appearances showed a man trying and failing to keep it together. During a televised tribute in December, viewers noticed him breaking down mid-performance of an old love song. He stopped singing halfway through, voice cracking, before quietly saying, "Some memories aren't meant for the spotlight." That clip became the emotional centerpiece of the unfolding scandal, shared millions of times. Set to melancholic piano remixes on TikTok, titled things like "The Last Honest Moment of Keith Urban" and "Just When People Thought the Chaos Had Peaked, It Didn't." In late December, a tabloid published what it claimed to be fragments of an internal email chain from Maggie's PR agency. The emails allegedly discussed damage control strategy, including phrases like narrative redirection and reputation reconstruction through philanthropy. Translation? They were planning to use charity events to fix her image, but by then, it was too late. Keith had gone silent. No social media posts, No public statements. Just a final photo taken by a fan in early January 2025, Keith walking alone through an airport. Hoodie up, guitar case in hand, no entourage, no cameras, no smile. That image, quiet, raw, unfiltered, hit harder than any headline. It was the poetic ending to a 5-year illusion. Because behind all the glamour, what Keith really lost wasn't fame or fortune, it was authenticity. The version of himself that smiled without needing an audience. The man who wrote from the heart instead of from sponsorship contracts. The man who believed that love meant connection, not content. One music journalist put it best in an editorial: Keith Urban didn't just stop smiling, he stopped pretending, and in the end, maybe that's the real story. Not the $76 million wedding, not the designer gowns or the private jets, but a man who learned the hardest way possible. That when you trade truth for trends, the applause eventually fades, and the silence that follows is deafening. As one fan commented under a Ray-shared wedding photo, the saddest part isn't that he stopped smiling. It's that he probably doesn't even remember what it felt like to smile for real, because sometimes Hollywood doesn't break you with scandals, it breaks you with smiles. And as the lights dimmed on the once perfect couple, the truth became painfully clear: all the luxury in the world can't buy peace. And no amount of filters can hide emptiness forever. Next, the question everyone's been asking: what really comes after the fall of the $76 million fairy tale? That's where this story leaves us, standing between fame and freedom, where Keith Urban finally stopped performing and started waking up. So, what do you think really happened behind that $76 million smile? Was Keith Urban trapped in a brand-built marriage, or did fame simply drain the life out of love? Drop your thoughts below, because this story isn't over. Hollywood's illusions always come with hidden receipts, and we'll be the first to dig them up if you think you've seen everything. Trust me, the next twist will make this one look like rehearsal footage. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the truth behind the glitter, only here on Lumi Legacy. See? Y'all, what in the Hollywood plot twist is going on here? Because it looks like Keith Urban just broke his silence, and the internet is about to melt down. After weeks of whispers, secret dinners, and just friends photo ops with Nicole Kidman, the country music king finally decided to speak up, and what he said, baby, it changed everything. Was this love story real, or just another shiny PR romance cooked up by the studios? Is this a breakup? Or a full-blown cover-up? Buckle up, because this might be the most shocking celebrity twist of 2025. Alright y'all, grab your popcorn, because this is not your regular Hollywood love story. This is Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, the plot no one saw coming. For years, fans thought these two were the ultimate power couple: red carpets, Grammys, award shows, romantic photo ops, you name it. But apparently, what glittered wasn't gold, because behind those glamorous smiles, something very different was brewing, and now, Keith Urban just threw gasoline on a rumor fire that's been burning for months. It all started on the set of a new mystery film, where Nicole was working with a younger co-star and Keith reportedly started feeling uneasy, sources close to the production told Hollywood Wire Confidential that Keith wasn't himself, allegedly dropping by set unannounced, questioning crew members, and making subtle digs about actors who can't tell real life from movie roles. Sounds like shade, right? Well, buckle up, because that was just the beginning. Then came the paparazzi photos. Oh yes, y'all know the ones. Nicole and Keith seen leaving a Beverly Hills restaurant. No smiles, no hand-holding. Just that awkward, let's pretend we're fine body language. Fans immediately flooded social media with the hashtag are they over, while gossip blogs went feral with claims that Nicole had been spending late hours at her co-star's apartment. Some even suggested Keith was preparing to move out of their Nashville mansion. But when Entertainment Buzz reached out to Keith's team, the response was cold, like ice cold. Keith is focused on his career and appreciates privacy at this time. Oof, that celebrity PR code for something definitely went down. Meanwhile, Nicole played it cool, almost too cool. In an interview with Variety, when asked about her marriage, she smiled and said, "Some things are sacred. What matters most is honesty, honesty." In Hollywood, that line alone had the internet spiraling. Now here's where the story takes a twist darker than a soap opera plotline. According to an anonymous insider, who claims to have worked on the couple's management team, this relationship has been struggling for years. But both sides agreed to keep up appearances for their image. Translation: the perfect couple was basically a Hollywood contract with emotions attached. And if you think that's dramatic, oh, honey, it gets worse. Reportedly, Nicole had been pushing for Keith to take on more film scoring opportunities so they could spend more time together, but Keith allegedly refused, saying he didn't want to be Mr. Kidman. That one quote alone sent tabloids into meltdown mode. Suddenly, Twitter threads were filled with think pieces about masculinity, fame, and what it means to date a more successful partner. Now here's the kicker: a leaked email, yes. A leaked email started circulating online last week. It allegedly showed Nicole's publicist reaching out to a streaming service executive, offering exclusive access to Nicole and Keith's behind-the-scenes story in exchange for a six-figure deal. If true, that would mean the couple was preparing to monetize their breakup before it even happened. And y'all! That's when the internet officially lost its mind. TikTok users began splicing together clips from past interviews, analyzing awkward eye contact, nervous smiles, and even body language experts chimed in claiming they're emotionally disconnected. The conspiracy theories were multiplying faster than TMZ headlines. But here's what really got people talking: the so-called Keith Urban silence. For months, Keith hadn't said a word. No denials, no clarifications, not even a cryptic lyric in a song. Fans were begging for a statement, and finally, after the rumors reached fever pitch, he broke his silence in a backstage interview at a charity gala. When asked if the rumors about him and Nicole were true, Keith simply said, "You can't control what people say, but you can control what you know in your heart." A vague, poetic answer, sure, but not exactly a denial. And in the world of celebrity PR, silence isn't golden, it's confirmation by omission. From that moment on, the narrative shifted. People started wondering, was this really a breakup? Or was there something deeper happening? Some claim Keith's words hinted at betrayal, while others believe he's covering for Nicole to protect her image ahead of her film's release. One entertainment blogger even posted a viral thread claiming there's an NDA involved, meaning both sides are legally barred from speaking about the real reason behind the split. But according to sources, the real reason might not be what anyone expects. Rumor has it the couple's tension didn't just come from jealousy, it came from money. That's right. Apparently, Keith and Nicole's combined brand deals and joint endorsements became a financial web so complicated that separating it would have cost millions. Some say they stayed together not out of love, but out of contractual convenience. As one alleged insider put it, Hollywood marriages aren't about love. They're about optics and profit margins, and y'all, when the money starts talking, the romance usually starts walking. Now, Keith has always prided himself on being grounded, the small-town Aussie who made it big. But fame changes people, and according to reports, his recent behavior backstage and during interviews has been off. One sound engineer even claimed Keith snapped at his team for asking about Nicole during rehearsals, shouting, "She's not my manager, she's my past." Whether that quote is real or exaggerated, the internet ate it up. It's giving heartbreak, it's giving midlife crisis, it's giving reality show energy, and fans can't look away. But here's the strange part: despite the chaos, the couple hasn't officially confirmed a split. Their reps are still using phrases like taking time apart and reevaluating priorities, which basically means we're done. But we're waiting for the right moment to announce it. So the question now is, what's really going on behind those closed mansion doors in Nashville? Because if the leaks, the statements, and the shady PR moves are any indication, this isn't just a breakup. It's a brand collapse in slow motion, and trust me, y'all, the story doesn't stop here. Because while Keith might have broken his silence, Nicole's response, it's about to light up Hollywood like a red carpet scandal. And just when everyone thought the drama had peaked, boom, Nicole Kidman entered her silent era. And Hollywood started losing its collective mind. For weeks, she said nothing, did nothing, posted nothing. Fans scrolled her Instagram daily, waiting for a caption, a quote, anything. But the silence was deafening. That's when the rumors turned darker, because y'all know, when Hollywood goes quiet, something messy is brewing behind the scenes, according to a so-called friend of the couple who spoke exclusively to Cine Expose. Nicole and Keith had been living separate lives for nearly 6 months before anyone noticed. Apparently, Nicole had been staying mostly in Los Angeles, while Keith was bouncing between Nashville and Vegas for his music commitments. But the real shocker? They allegedly only communicated through their management teams. That's right, emails through assistants. Imagine being married and needing your publicist to forward your messages. Who you now? Insiders claim the tension between them started when Nicole signed on for a controversial new film, a dark romantic thriller that blurred the line between reality and fiction. Her co-star, a young, rising actor half her age who, according to tabloids, became her creative muse. From there, whispers of late-night rehearsals, off-script chemistry, and undeniable energy spread like wildfire. Keith reportedly hated it. He allegedly told friends, "I've shared stages with legends, but I'm not sharing my wife with Hollywood." That one line set social media ablaze. Meanwhile, a viral TikTok popped up claiming to have leaked footage from the movie's wrap party. In the blurry clip, a woman who looked suspiciously like Nicole could be seen laughing closely with her co-star, champagne glass in hand, leaning in a bit too comfortably. The comments section exploded. "That's not acting, that's attraction." Keith Urban somewhere punching the air right now, but here's the thing. Right after the clip went viral, the account that posted it mysteriously disappeared, gone, deleted overnight. Some users believe the studio sent a cease and desist. Others think Nicole's PR team pulled strings. Either way, it made people even more suspicious. A week later, Poplar released a so-called exclusive leak claiming Keith hired a private investigator to follow Nicole during production. The alleged investigator, quoted under the alias Mason, said he wanted clarity, not drama. But the truth hurt more than the rumors. Double quotes now. Whether that quote is real or pure tabloid fiction, it did what gossip always does. It spread like wildfire. Overnight, the hashtags #UrbanFiles and #NicoleExposed started trending. Fan accounts were posting theories, matching outfit details, comparing timestamps. The internet went full detective mode. And just when people thought the situation couldn't get more awkward, Keith dropped a cryptic song teaser on Instagram. Just 10 seconds of him strumming his guitar, with the caption, "Sometimes silence says what words can't." Within an hour, it had over 2 million views. Fans flooded the comments. Is this about Nicole? Bro's soft launching his heartbreak era. He's pulling a Taylor Swift. But the wildest twist came days later when Hollywood Insider now published screenshots of alleged text messages between Nicole and her film co-star. The messages were blurred, names censored, but the timestamps and emojis were enough to make the internet go crazy. "You make every scene real," one message read. Another said, "Can't wait till tomorrow night." That was all it took. Of course, Nicole's rep immediately released a statement calling the text fabricated nonsense, but fans weren't buying it, especially after her co-star posted a suspiciously timed black and white selfie captioned, "No regrets." Meanwhile, Keith's behavior grew even more unpredictable. During a concert in Las Vegas, Fans claimed he choked up while performing a love ballad. Some swore they saw him wipe tears during his closing number. One fan even captured a clip of Keith saying softly into the mic, "You think you know someone?" The clip went viral overnight. At this point, it wasn't just gossip. It was a full-blown Hollywood soap opera unfolding in real time. Talk shows, late-night hosts, even morning radio segments started covering it. Everyone wanted to know what really happened to Keith and Nicole. But behind the memes and drama, there were deeper whispers, financial ones. Insiders claimed the couple had millions tied up in joint deals, real estate, production ventures, and sponsorship contracts that required them to appear together at certain events. If they split, it could cost both of them a fortune. So, some PR analysts theorized they were strategically delaying the breakup announcement until they untangled the money dot, and here's where it gets even juicier. The Hollywood Watcher claimed that Nicole's upcoming film studio allegedly pressured her to maintain stability in the press until the movie premiered. The article quoted an anonymous executive who said, "Scandal sells tickets, but divorce overshadows art. We need her to look steady." So, was this relationship meltdown actually being managed for marketing? If true, that means what fans were witnessing wasn't just heartbreak. It was Hollywood damage control in real time. But the energy online kept shifting. Some fans sided with Keith, painting him as the heartbroken husband trying to keep his dignity. Others defended Nicole, calling her a woman reclaiming her independence after years of image control. It became a war zone on Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it now, with hashtags like #TeamKeith and #NicoleDeservesPeace trending side by side. Then came the bombshell that blew everything wide open, a leaked voicemail, reportedly obtained by a podcast host known for exposing celebrity secrets. The voicemail allegedly featured Keith's voice saying, "You lied to me. You told me it was just a scene." Now, the whole world's laughing. Within hours, the clip spread across social media, racking up millions of views before it was pulled down for copyright reasons. But by then, the damage was done. Fans were convinced it was authentic. Nicole's team dismissed it as AI-generated trash, but experts claimed the audio had real vocal markers consistent with Keith's speaking pattern. By this point, the couple had gone from red carpet royalty to viral gossip meme material. What had started as a few romance rumors had now spiraled into leaked voicemails, fake DMs, deleted videos, and brain chaos. And still, neither Keith nor Nicole had publicly confirmed anything. No joint statement, no apology, nothing. Just silence, tension, and a million fans analyzing every word, every song lyric, every post. But that silence wasn't going to last forever. Because when Hollywood's biggest couple goes down, someone always decides to tell the real story. And that's exactly what was about to happen next. And then, y'all, the silence shattered. Out of nowhere, Keith Urban appeared on a late-night talk show, looking calm, polished, but with that faint, tired smile that screamed, "I've been through hell, but I'm gonna act fine." The host barely got through the introductions before dropping the question everyone was waiting for. "Keith, the world wants to know, what's really going on between you and Nicole?" The audience held its breath, and Keith, without missing a beat, said, "People love to build stories out of silence, but not every silence means guilt. Sometimes it's just peace." Now, was that a denial? A confession? A poetic dodge? Nobody knew. But that one sentence sent Hollywood into meltdown mode. Within hours, #KeithUrbanSpeaks started trending worldwide. Clips from the interview flooded TikTok, with creators doing dramatic reenactments, fan edits, and slow-motion breakdowns like they were analyzing true crime footage. But here's where things got wild. That interview wasn't the full story. Days later, a longer unedited version leaked online, showing Keith getting visibly emotional. In the unseen clip, he admitted it's hard loving someone the world thinks they own. That one line had fans crying, bloggers theorizing, and PR teams scrambling. The comment sections went insane. He's heartbroken. He's protecting her. He's about to drop a heartbreak album. And y'all know how Hollywood works. The more emotional the man looks, the faster the sympathy floods in. Suddenly, Keith Urban was America's sad cowboy, and Nicole, the ice queen who allegedly traded love for fame. Never mind that half of it was speculation. That's how narratives form in the age of social media chaos. Meanwhile, news sources began crawling out of the woodwork like ants after rain. A former stylist claimed Keith and Nicole had a blowout fight before the Oscars, where Keith allegedly accused her of using their marriage as a PR accessory. Another insider claimed Nicole stormed out of a meeting yelling, "I can't babysit his insecurities anymore." None of it confirmed, of course, but it didn't have to be. In Gossipland, the headline is the truth, and the truth is irrelevant. And then came the leaked financial documents. Yes, allegedly leaked bank statements showing the couple's joint account being split, their production company assets frozen, and a mysterious wire transfer to a private consulting firm, which online sleuths claimed was a code name for a divorce attorney. Suddenly, everyone was whispering, are they secretly divorced? But just as the internet crowned Keith the heartbroken hero, Nicole finally broke her silence. Out of nowhere, she appeared on the cover of Elle magazine wearing black, with the headline, "I'm done hiding." In the interview, Nicole didn't name Keith directly, but she said enough to light up every gossip column in existence. She told the interviewer, sometimes love can be loud, and sometimes it can be manipulative. I've learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's survival, BOOM, one paragraph, and the internet exploded. Manipulative? Survival? Fans started dissecting every word like it was a coded message. Was she accusing Keith of control? Was this emotional warfare through press quotes? Every news outlet had their theory, and everyone claimed to have inside knowledge at the same time. Keith dropped a surprise track titled Behind the Spotlight, a slow, aching ballad about losing yourself while loving someone who's always performing. The lyrics? Brutal, you smile for the cameras, I wait in the wings, you play your role, while I pull the strings. Fans didn't need a detective, they knew exactly who that was about. The track went viral within hours, topping charts and sparking 1,000 think pieces about art as heartbreak. Suddenly, this wasn't just gossip, it was entertainment gold. Streaming numbers spiked, interview requests doubled, and the same Hollywood machine that tore them apart started cashing in on their pain. And you know what's even crazier? Some sources now claim the entire breakup was being turned into a documentary series. Yep, rumor has it, a major streaming platform is working on a 6-part docuseries titled Urban Legends, Love, Lies, and Fame. The tagline? When the spotlight fades, the truth begins. If that's true, it means the scandal that supposedly destroyed them is about to make them both richer than ever. But here's the kicker that nobody saw coming. Just as fans were ready to crown Keith and Nicole as officially done, the two were spotted together again, quietly leaving a wellness retreat in Montana. No cameras, no entourage, just the two of them, hoodies up, walking side by side. Within minutes, TMZ had the photos. And just like that, the internet flipped again. Wait, are they back together? Was this all staged? Did they trick us for publicity? The confusion was instant. Even media analysts couldn't decide whether this was a reconciliation or a rollout. Some said it was closure, others said it was rebranding, and honestly, in Hollywood, what's the difference? Because at this point, Keith and Nicole aren't just people anymore. They're narratives. Their love, their pain, their silence, all monetized, analyzed, and recycled for clicks. What started as a romance became a business. What became a business turned into a circus, and now the circus has a sequel. Still, something about Keith's last public words stuck with fans. During a radio appearance just before the retreat photos dropped, he said softly, "You can lose everything and still have grace." That's what she taught me. Was that closure? Forgiveness? PR damage control? No one knows. But one thing's for sure, whether they're together or apart, this Hollywood saga is far from over. Because in a world built on illusion, every silence, every smile, and every lyric becomes a clue. And as Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman continue to play their parts on the grandest stage of all, Fame, the rest of us are left wondering, was any of it ever real? Or was it just another perfectly scripted Hollywood love story, ending exactly how the producers planned it? So, what do y'all think? Was this a real heartbreak, or the smartest PR performance Hollywood's ever seen? Because one thing's for sure, when it comes to Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, the truth is always dressed in designer lies. If you think this saga is over, think again. Hollywood never ends the story. It just rewrites the script. Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button and tell us whose side you're on. Hashtag Team Keith or hashtag Team Nicole. And don't forget to subscribe to Lumi Legacy, where we turn every rumor into reality TV, one scandal at a time. Well, Hollywood just can't stay quiet, can it? Because apparently privacy is dead and drama is alive and thriving. The internet is melting after an alleged leaked video of Keith Urban surfaced online, and the finger-pointing has officially begun. Nicole Kidman isn't just mad. She's furious, calling out none other than rising star Maggie Baugh for allegedly being the snake behind the scandal. But is Maggie guilty? Or is this just another Hollywood setup gone wild? Grab your popcorn because what's coming next is not a movie. It's real-life betrayal, fame, and fire. One fine Sunday morning, social media wakes up to chaos. Hashtags like hashtag Keith Urban leaked, hashtag Nicole vs Maggie, and hashtag country music scandal are trending worldwide. Nobody knows what happened yet, but one grainy clip has already exploded across Reddit, TikTok, and even gossip blogs that usually stick to Kardashians and Bravo drama. The video, allegedly showing Keith Urban in a compromising moment, sent shockwaves through both the country music and Hollywood elite circles. But here's the twist. People are whispering that the person who leaked it wasn't a hacker. It was someone close. Enter Maggie Baugh, young, talented, up-and-coming country star, often seen around Keith and Nicole at charity events, studio sessions, and industry dinners. At first, fans thought she was like a little sister to Keith, but when that private clip hit the internet, all eyes turned on her. And guess who wasn't having any of it? Nicole Kidman. Nicole went from Hollywood queen to revenge goddess overnight. Reports say she called her lawyers before breakfast and began what insiders are calling a full-blown media lockdown, according to an unnamed publicist, aka someone's assistant leaking for attention. Nicole allegedly told her team, "I will not let another woman humiliate my family." Now, let's rewind just a bit because this drama didn't come out of nowhere. Nicole and Maggie's friendship has been rocky for a while. Insiders claim that during a recent project involving Keith and Maggie's music collaboration, things started getting weird. Nicole was reportedly uncomfortable with how close Keith and Maggie had become, constant texts, late-night jam sessions, and mysteriously lost studio footage that never made it to the label. One producer told a gossip outlet. Nicole was never rude to Maggie, but you could tell she didn't trust her. It was that Hollywood smile, polite but sharp, and honestly, who could blame her? Hollywood is full of backstabbing disguised as mentorship. Keith himself didn't help matters. He publicly praised Maggie at the Country Music Awards last year, saying she had the heart and soul of an old-school country artist. The internet, being the internet, immediately twisted it into something messy. TikTok edits started popping up with titles like Keith Urban's new muse and Is Maggie the next Nicole? Still, nobody took it seriously until that video surfaced. Within hours, Nicole's team released a cryptic statement on Instagram that read, "Privacy is sacred. Betrayal is unforgivable. The truth will surface. That one post sent the fandom into a frenzy. Suddenly, everyone was investigating Maggie's every move. Who followed her? Who unfollowed her? Why did she delete her recent posts? Even her comment sections were flooded with snake emojis and phrases like, "We trusted you, Maggie." Meanwhile, Keith Urban stayed completely silent, which, of course, only made it worse. The tabloids labeled him Hollywood's quietest scandal magnet. But here's where it gets juicy. Allegedly, Maggie was the one who recorded the video in the first place. Sources say it was taken during a private music retreat in Malibu, where several artists, including Keith, were writing and performing together. The footage wasn't explicit, but it was personal enough to spark rumors of emotional intimacy. And when it leaked, the assumption was immediate. Only someone who had access could have shared it, according to a source close to Nicole, or maybe just someone pretending to be. Nicole confronted Maggie over text. It wasn't pretty. There were words like traitor and backstabber. Maggie didn't even respond. She just went radio silent, and silence in Hollywood speaks volumes. Now here's where the PR circus kicked in. Nicole's lawyers apparently reached out to every major entertainment outlet, demanding the video's removal. TMZ, Page 6, and even Rolling Stone took it down within hours. But you know how the internet works. Once it's out forever. Mirror uploads, Telegram groups, Reddit threads, it spread faster than wildfire. And just like that, the narrative flipped. Nicole wasn't just a victim. She became the avenger. Fans began romanticizing her anger, posting edits of her movie scenes from Big Little Lies with captions like "Nicole when someone crosses her family." Others started calling her Hollywood's ice queen with a heart. Maggie, on the other hand, vanished. Her management team claimed she was taking time for mental health, but insiders say she's been holed up in Nashville, trying to figure out how everything went so wrong. By this point, the entire internet had divided itself into camps, Team Nicole and Team Maggie. One side screamed loyal wife defending her family, while the other argued jealous actress bullying a rising star, and that's exactly where the storm began to build. Because as soon as Nicole's next move dropped, it changed everything. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get messier, Nicole Kidman pulled the kind of move that only a seasoned Hollywood veteran could. Overnight, her PR team dropped a bombshell statement that felt more like a declaration of war than a clarification. The message was simple yet lethal: "We are pursuing all legal avenues regarding the unlawful release of private material involving my husband. The betrayal came from someone we trusted." Boom, the internet exploded again. That last line, "someone we trusted," was the match that reignited the digital wildfire. Within hours, #MaggieExposed started trending. Fans went full FBI mode, digging up old clips of Maggie performing duets with Keith, analyzing body language, eye contact, even how close she stood during interviews. TikTok detectives claimed they saw romantic tension that everyone else missed, and guess what? The memes came rolling in. Screenshots of Maggie smiling next to Keith during interviews captioned, "She knew exactly what she was doing." Meanwhile, her fan base tried to defend her, saying Nicole was just insecure and using her power to silence a younger artist. It turned into an all-out culture war, the Hollywood housewife versus the rising country darling, anonymous insiders. And I mean the type of insiders who probably just work at Starbucks near a studio, started leaking supposed details. One even told an online tabloid Maggie had been recording a lot of behind-the-scenes moments for her documentary. That video might have been part of her footage, not something she leaked intentionally. But then another source fired back saying that's what she wants people to believe. Nicole's convinced this wasn't an accident. This was sabotage, revenge, pure and simple. Revenge for what? Well, rumor has it that a few months ago, Maggie was dropped from a music collaboration that Keith and Nicole were co-producing for a Netflix special. The reason? Creative differences, but now people are whispering it was more personal than professional. Some say Maggie felt used and discarded after Keith allegedly promised her a solo spotlight that never materialized. It doesn't help that Nicole's close friend, actress Naomi Watts, jumped into the mix. She liked a post shading Maggie for biting the hand that fed her. Fans caught it immediately. The comments were brutal, Naomi choosing violence, and the Aussie sisterhood stand strong. Meanwhile, poor Keith Urban has become the ghost of his own scandal. He hasn't said a single word, not even a no comment. Paparazzi caught him outside his studio looking stressed, sipping his coffee like a man who just realized silence won't save him anymore. His PR team released a vague note through his label saying, "Mr. Urban is focused on his family and his music." Translation? "We're trying to stay out of this mess. Please stop tagging us." But here's where the plot thickens. Digital forensics experts, yes. Apparently, that's a thing now, claimed the metadata from the leaked clip matched Maggie's personal recording device. Now, it's not confirmed, but you can imagine how that sounded online. One gossip channel screamed, "The evidence points straight to her phone," while another said, "Hollywood cover-up in progress." Fans started demanding Nicole press charges and make an example out of her. YouTubers milked it for views, analyzing Maggie's every facial twitch in her old vlogs. Even late-night comedians jumped in, joking, "When your country duet turns into a courtroom duet, Maggie, cornered and silent." Finally posted a short message on X, formerly Twitter. "Not everything you see or hear is true. Some things are manipulated. I will speak when the time is right. But for many, it was too little, too late. The damage was done." Nicole's fans flooded her mentions with supportive comments, calling her Hollywood's most loyal wife, while Maggie's pages turned into digital battlefields, and then came the real twist. According to one entertainment insider, Nicole wasn't just angry, she was personally investigating. Reports claim she hired a private cybersecurity firm to trace the source of the leak. The same firm, allegedly used by celebrities like Beyoncé and Taylor Swift, specializes in digital footprint analysis. They reportedly discovered multiple unauthorized transfers from a private shared folder linked to Keith's team, and who had access. You guessed it, Maggie Baugh. That revelation spread like wildfire across gossip blogs. Headlines screamed, "Nicole Kidman's digital detectives point to Maggie Baugh. Leaked data trail exposes rising country star's role in urban scandal." Maggie's management tried to control the damage, claiming her account was hacked, but fans weren't buying it. Commenters wrote things like, "Classic excuse, the hacker did it. And if it was hacked, where's the proof?" Things escalated fast. Nicole allegedly blocked Maggie on all social platforms. Their mutual friends stopped tagging them in group photos. Awards show organizers were reportedly reconsidering seating arrangements